Hey guys, it's Lindsay here with Metricform. I wanted to go in and deep dive how we're going to create an analysis. So, I went onto Trend Hunter and I found an interesting trend. Right now, it's a K-pop celebrity supported beauty brands. I just chose that because I think it's interesting. And I'm going to go into Metricform and I'm essentially just created a folder. Pretty easy. And I'm just going to hit go. So you can see now the product's thinking, okay, it's asking me a few questions just to support this. Some initial web research around this. Really cool. So it looks like it came up with that there's major beauty lines that are heavily tied to certain brands. There's strong involvement from certain other brands. Let's see what it has to say. It's updated the focus a little bit. I'm going to say that this client is for Metricform. So it's giving me the platform that it's suggesting, doing an analysis focus, which is really cool. We're not doing any own content out. I'm not a brand. It's giving me a processing time of 45 minutes and giving me some initial intelligence notes. I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to go ahead and run it. Hey guys, we got the report. And so we're just going into it in the quick metric tab and we're diving in to take a look at the report. So K-pop beauty brand, pretty exciting. Anyway, let's dive into the report because I'm pretty excited to talk about kind of what's happening here in the K-pop beauty market. And I haven't looked at this report yet. So let's take a look and dive in. So let's take a look at the evidence here. This is funny. Okay. Do Koreans actually use US like K-pop inspired or Korean inspired beauty brand? That's a really cool post here. And yeah, it's kind of like showing that like some of these are and others aren't used in Korea actually. So like authenticity is pretty interesting dynamic here. Every one of our reports will always have kind of like an overview or a key findings or an executive summary, something like that. It's all dynamically generated. So based on what's the best method of building these reports, it's going to go through and kind of like drive the insights that you need to see. Isolated reputational friction. That's cool. Okay. Resource reallocation, tired influencer engagement. Okay. Let's keep diving. So where brand initiated conversations are met with kind of passive reception. So everything is kind of influencer driven. Let's take a look at this post. Did not come from the brand itself. And it's kind of showing, okay, this has 12.1K. Brand recruiting. So this is kind of like,
hi creators, want first access to BioK Beauty.
This is kind of like something
this is
great from the brand. So, lack of active audience reactions to direct brand messaging. And we just saw that example of the direct brand messaging here, posts versus like the 12.2K. So every report also comes through and like basically gives like an outline of like what are the methodology of the report was. Yeah, so let's dive into some of the key narrative community. Essentially, like key narratives are basically like structure of the whole conversation. And this is the global map of like all of the conversations with it right across. So you can see here that, you've got basically your main cluster, which is the primary or promotional. You've got the influencer driven kind of like marketplace. That's like probably like another very commercial segment. The core trend spotter. So this seems to be like not as big of a share. And usually when you get smaller with your share of smaller audience segment, you'll find that those are the ones that man a lot of positive or negative, right? So it's really like the report is diving into like what people are talking about. Communities are forming, micro community. A majority of that core momentum come from. I would say this. So the community question product at like NCT. This is like the critical trend analysis portion of it. Marketing claims, influencer authenticity. And we saw that earlier in the example where like you had like a doctor or dermatologist going through and saying like, no, this is not like an area, like this is not a product, from K Beauty Serum that like they actually use. So like this is expert opinion and identifying like, okay, like, from expert opinion and influencer authority, like what is, what's relevant. So let's take a look at it.
Dr. Althea, Beauty of Joseon, no. Round Labby, Haru Haru, no. Medicube, yes.
Okay, so that's very interesting. And that's the third person we saw, third dermatologist going through and doing that trend. So these trends emerge. This report is showing you that, right? Like, is that like, this is key trend that you need to be following. Okay, so synthesis and indicators of warning, right? So what's happening? There's a misalignment between brand output and audience resonance. Okay, so this is like what we call the Lorenzo curve, right? Familiar with it. I won't bore you, but like engagement, inequality, right? So like basically what it's saying here, and usually you can just read these reports, like practical implication is that brand reputation, market narrative are not shaped by the brand messaging, but actually they're quite susceptible to the commentary of a few, and let's take a look on a B.
Do Koreans actually use these
another one of that same trend, right? And so like it's another dermatologist going through and touching base on like what actually works, what doesn't, right? And so that's a narrative that's building, and one to look out for, and one that I had no idea about before. I just typed it into Metri and got, all right, so TikTok, we're seeing like, okay, posts versus replies is a pretty standard metric. And so, right, so original posts versus reply on TikTok versus Instagram, it's considerably higher on TikTok, right? It's very low for this subject matter. And so let's take a look at like some other stuff, right? What else? Viral impact versus noise. So we have over here in the right, it's core viral themes, silent explosion. Okay, like high viral theme. K-beauty trends are in the core viral theme, but K-beauty comparisons here are like pretty much like, I would say, in the creme de la creme category, silent explosion. But if we're looking for something in between, right? Pop beauty versus US brands, I think that's kind of like what we're doing. Our K-pop beauty opportunity, like that's an interesting place to look more. And I bet you this will be another.
Which K-beauty brand has the best product?
So that's really funny. Okay, so let's keep going. So age demo. We're seeing 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 in this report. Market audience is based itself like within that consideration. We're seeing a lot of women, but I love skincare products. So men, please get involved, right? Get yourself some K serum. Sentiment split. So we've got like replies versus so like we're seeing like positive in reply versus neutral. So it's like seems like a majority of neutrality, and then original posts get a lot of like positive. So any kind of like influencer posts or like individuals who are like individual contributor, they're not getting a lot of negativity. Actually, they're going positive. So for brands, that's really important, right? Engage with influencers, engage with individuals who are going to push that narrative forward. Here's some themes like K-beauty trends versus products. So trends are more important, and the products are secondary. Overview, product reviews. Okay, these are all pretty standard. And so let's look at those critical top structural threats by significant. Okay, so we have like product performance, ingredient safety is a high risk area. Then this, you're going to find this here, right? But this makes it simple to understand. So ingredient safety and authenticity. This is the area you need to focus on. So if there was like a company, let's say like a K serum, and it just had huge label for ingredient, this would do well, right? But like, because it does both. It's brand, it's authentic, right? And it's ingredients forward. So those are some insights. Now, okay, what else do we have? Amplify market research through strategic alliances. These are some opportunity areas, right? Cultivate brand advocacy. We can kind of like look for like kind of beauty trend leadership, like, and then kind of like like places where we can grow, like in the growth area, right? Is like fortify brand equity through authenticity and transparency initiatives, because there's a lot of noise. It's already in another language in the US market, right? Like K serum, right? So it's exotic and it's interesting, right? But like we need to like make sure it's really clear and transparent to the US market. Thanks so much again for taking the time. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you have any interesting ideas that you want us to cover on our next kind of overview and report breakdown, let me know and we'll run a report for you. Comment below.